Alright, welcome to the Comic Book Shop of Doom. I'm your host. This video is not for children, so if you're under 13, get your parents' permission to watch this. So what are we going to talk about today? Well, I read this article on bleedingcool.com, and it talked about the 5 studios that managed to win against the pandemic, movie studios. So they had a list of people, of guys here. Now I never like these lists, because to me, this is arguable. Okay, they had Universal. So what they did was they sold that movie Trolls worldwide. They put that out on that premium video on demand. They're charging like $20 to rent it. Neon, which is an independent company that has venture capital money behind it, they had that Palm Springs movie, and they put out some movies, but none of them were around where I live, and I live right outside of Chicago. So it's like, okay, they're missing in action. You had Netflix, which to me doesn't put movies out at the show. That's just a streaming company. They were going to make money regardless. Their business increased. You got this Next Entertainment World, and they did that Train to Busan, The Peninsula, which is a Korean horror movie, which I thought it came out under a different distributor. So I don't know if they screwed up or they got the wrong country or what, but I don't think that was in America. And then they have Paramount, which didn't really put out anything. They had Sonic the Hedgehog, and this was before the pandemic, and then everything's been delayed. And then they put as an honorable mention, you had Sony, because they sold the movie Greyhound to Apple Plus, and they had Disney because they took the dogs like Artemis Fowl, and they put that on the Disney Plus streaming service, and then they put Hamilton on there early, which I have no desire to watch that thing. But to me, the king of the box office would be IFC Films. And what they've been doing is their modus operandi is they buy these movies for like 200 grand for the United States. So they get all rights in the United States. They buy all these independent movies. And a lot of these movies are put together with these hodgepodge financial deals where they sell them around the world, and they get 200 grand from the United States. So that goes to the budget of, say, this movie costs $1 million or $2 million. So they piece it together piece by piece, and they actually make a profit, and then they deliver the movie. So IFC put out these horror movies, and a lot of these horror movies were grossing 300 and 400 grand at the drive-ins alone. So they had The Relic, they had The Wretched, The Rental, which was Dave Franco's directorial debut. And this past weekend, they just put out a Russian alien knockoff called Sputnik, where our cosmonaut comes back from space with some kind of alien inside him. So these are the 4 big movies that are making money that they got. So I think that article, they failed to mention this, that these guys and they put these movies out on video on demand too. So they get a little bit of a push through the theatrical releases, which is right now it's mostly the drive-ins. They got some movie theaters open, but there's not really a lot. But to me, during the pandemic, the king of the box office in the United States is IFC Films. And they got that IFC Midnight label, which is for the horror movies. But they've done a really good job. And they've put out a lot of movies over the years. I mean, they've been putting out stuff since like 2000. Their biggest movie is My Big Fat Greek Wedding, the first one. And they've had a couple more like that Boyhood movie, and then the rest of them are just like I was saying, they're just limited releases. They make about $200,000-$300,000, and then they go to video on demand, and then they release them on DVD, and blah 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 blah, and they get them on their cable channel. But since the pandemic, that was the only thing. They were steadily playing these things at the drive-ins, and people were going to see them. So I'll give them credit. They found a niche during the pandemic. So I think that's the most successful company with, just marketing alone during the pandemic. Like I said, the other bunch that were out there, to me, I don't think they did much. They just, sold the movies on video on demand, or that's it, and very few shows. I mean, Universal, like I said, they had that Trolls Worldwide. That did do some drive-ins. But it did most of its money on video on demand, But these things are making cleaning up at the drive-ins. So excellent for IFC. Everybody have a good night.